Hi, this is Will Richmond and from VideoNuze, and I'm pleased to present the first of our VideoNuze IQ Expert Series interviews today. And I'm very happy to have Jonathan Hurd from Altman Vilandrie with us, who's going to walk us through some of their new research. Hi, Jonathan.
Hey, Will. Thanks very much.
Great. So you've got a handful of slides you're going to start taking us through, and I'm going to ask you a few questions along the way, so go for it.
Sounds good. Just a brief background on Altman Vilandrie. We're a strategy consulting firm focused on communications and media, and we're focused on North America. We have a partner firm called Solon in Europe, but our specialty is that we're focused on TMT, telecom, media, and technology, and also, as you'll see in this survey research, we also have a fairly quantitative approach to our problem solving. So that's it on us. And about our video survey, this is something we've been doing for the past 5 years every summer. We partner with Research Now, who's an online panel provider, and we have a sample size of 2,500 consumers. And you can see from the sample areas explored here that we cover a lot of ground in the survey. It's breadth as well as depth in some areas. And we're not a research firm per se, so we don't sell research, and most of the research we do is in the context of client engagements. But this is a helpful way for us to stay in touch with what's going on in consumer usage and behavior of video. So we have a few slides here, a selection of findings from the survey. The first one is, we've been asking consumers every year, how often do you watch TV shows and movies on the internet? So this is professional quality content. We're not talking about user-generated content here. But you can see by age band the growth that's been occurring with much heavier usage in younger age audiences, but especially in the past year, some pretty significant growth in 45 and above year-olds as well. So online video viewing is a significant phenomenon across multiple age ranges. And that what you saw there was ad-based professional content as well as paid. And when we ask people, why do you use a paid internet video service for those who do, part of it is being able to watch on your own timetable or easily getting the TV shows you want to watch. But also, there's a money-saving aspect to this. When you think about a Netflix $8 a month charge versus historically people renting or buying DVDs and paying late fees, it's actually very economical for people to use a paid internet video service. In terms of what services are people watching when they're watching paid online video services, we asked everyone who said that they watched TV shows or movies online at least weekly, which service they use at least weekly. And Netflix is far and away the most frequently used service. You can see about 3/4 of respondents said they use Netflix. And again, these are the ones that are watching online video at least weekly, with HBO Go, Hulu Plus, Amazon Prime, and others paid on demand, meaning iTunes or other services similar to that. Those are much less frequently used. So Netflix is the big dominant player, not surprisingly, in this space.
Yeah, no surprise there, Jonathan, right?
Right, exactly. But all of this online video viewing, there were some predictions and concerns that this is going to create a massive amount of cord cutting. We've looked at cord cutting in a couple of different ways. This data is just right out of SNL Kagan data, and it shows over the last 5 years that the penetration of multi-channel TV subscribers in occupied TV households has gone from about 90% to 86%. So there's been a drop of 4%. And so the people who aren't subscribing, you can think of 10% of households as being the, quote, traditional non-subscribers, meaning they use an antenna or they watch DVDs only, or maybe they don't even care about video all that much. But there has been this 4% of households that are, quote, new non-subscribers that have been generated over the past 5 years. So, in our survey, we thought, let's see if we can validate this 4% or see if it somehow relates to online video viewing. And so what we found is that the 4% does match up pretty well with the percentage of people in our survey who were non-subscribers who said that they watched online video, and again, this is TV shows and movies, at least weekly. So this is a little bit complex, this chart here, but on the left, we've got the true cord nevers. These are people who have never subscribed to video, or pay TV, I should say, but who do care about video. So we filtered out a bunch of the population who said, I just don't care that much about video. And on the right, we've got true cord cutters. These are former pay TV subscribers who say they do care about video. And of those households, the red are those who say they watch online TV shows and movies at least weekly. So when you add up that 1.3% of the of all subscribers who are cord nevers who watch online video weekly, and the same number on the cord cutters, you end up with 4.7% of occupied TV households. So that matches up pretty well with the 4% from SNL Kagan. So our overall conclusion is that about 4 to 5% of households are driven at least partially by the emergence of internet video. These are, again, non-subscribers, they care about video, and they're using watching online TV shows and movies at least weekly. We also found that this number is roughly the same as in last year's survey. So despite all the online video being watched, we're not seeing a huge growth in cord cutters or cord nevers as a result of internet video.
And that seems to support the contention that I know Reed Hastings at Netflix likes to make frequently, which is that online video subscription services are an augment to pay TV subscriptions. That seems consistent with what you're saying your finding is as well.
Absolutely. Everything in our survey supports that this is not a substitute. And in fact, we see a lot of interest in live TV, particularly in younger subscribers. So why are people who cancel their cable TV subscription canceling? This shows the reasons that people gave that they canceled their pay TV subscription. And by the way, when you see cable TV service, that's pay TV service from any MVPD, whether it's cable, satellite, or telco.
Right.
So 2/3 of them said they could no longer afford it. A little over half said it was a poor value. We also had about half saying internet video was enough for my needs. So of those who've cord cut, roughly half had internet video as one of the factors in that decision. It's obviously also not, a black and white decision whether people could just simply not afford it or whether online video was enough. It's really a variety of reasons. As you can see, people agreed to multiple reasons here. So speaking of lives, I mentioned earlier and how important that is. We asked those who do subscribe to pay TV why they choose to subscribe instead of relying only on internet video. And the top 3 reasons had something to do with live or recent broadcasts. So live news being important. Third reason is live sports being important. And then in the middle, this desire to watch TV shows as soon as they are available. And we broke that out into those under age 35 and those over age 35. You can see that about 3/4 of those under age 35 said that, they agreed with that statement. And we didn't ask a lot of questions specifically about social media and TV viewing and, the underlying reasons for this, although we do suspect that for younger consumers who are much more connected, that watching an episode, for example, the Red Wedding episode of Game of Thrones, you don't want to miss that if all your friends have seen it and all the spoiler alerts that are out there on the internet. So, watching shows as soon as they become available may very well continue to be important or even gain in importance to younger subscribers.
That feels like a pretty encouraging data point right there for pay TV operators who are so concerned and so vigilant about the behaviors of younger viewers, right?
Exactly. There is, no substitute for live, and this is just something that's become, historically been very important, but, live is not going away. And sports also are something to consider, that there is a segment of the population, a very strong segment, that cares a lot about sports. It tends to be bifurcated, but, sports is certainly also a really important driver there. So given all of that viewing and the interest in live, again, 3 years ago, we asked, how often do you watch shows on TV during their normal broadcast time? And we see relatively little change in the percentage of people that said they do that at least weekly. So it's roughly the same numbers across all age ranges, a little bit of ups and downs with, probably within the margin of error of the survey. But this is also very encouraging, that we're not seeing a collapse of those who say they watch shows on TV during their normal broadcast time.
Remarkably consistent, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah. And this data here you can look at either as the glass is half full or half empty, really. But it's at least good that when you ask, what is the likelihood that you or your household will subscribe to cable TV service 5 years from now? These are the non-subscribers that we asked this question to. And as you can see, it really varies for under age 35 versus over age 35. Over age 35, it's only about a third that say that it's likely they'll subscribe 5 years from now. So it's almost as if, hit a pattern where they're saying, gee, I've lived without it, and so it's not something I aspire to now. But under age 35, about half say that it is likely or very likely. So at least it's encouraging that it isn't the other way around. But then you could look at this and say, well, it's only half, though. And, what about the other half of those under 35? How can we continue to appeal to them? So that had to do, a lot with viewing and intention of viewing and online video viewing. And then we asked about device usage. So this is how often do you watch TV shows and movies on a tablet, and the percentages here are those viewing at least weekly. So first of all, the lines are the percentage of households that actually own a tablet. And it's just amazing, as everyone knows, but when you see the numbers like this, it's gone in, take 18 to 24-year-olds, for example, it's gone from 18% tablet ownership 2 years ago to 43% today. And of all subscribers, 9%, so that was roughly half those who owned a tablet 2 years ago, were watching TV shows and movies on a tablet weekly. And then 24% today of all households, even a little more than half of the 43%. And then you can see in other age ranges how strong that ownership and viewing is, even up through age 45 or so. And even though it drops off a bit on 45 plus, the growth has been really significant. Only 1 or 2% watching TV shows and movies on a tablet weekly 2 years ago to, roughly 10% or more today. So it's the growth has been very significant in terms of tablet adoption and video viewing. Similarly, on smartphones, the ownership level is quite a bit higher. And there are quite a number, particularly those under age 35, who are watching TV shows and movies on their smartphone at least weekly. So both tablets and smartphones, very important devices for pay TV operators to think about and make sure that they've got compelling ways to view that content in order to take advantage of this change in behavior.
That smartphone ownership, Jonathan, just back on the slide, 73% of 25 to 34s owning a smartphone in 2013.
Yeah, it's
Remarkable.
grown dramatically, but it's also something to consider in terms of using a smartphone. We asked, for example, what device would you most like to use as a remote for your TV viewing experience? And traditional remotes are interest in those is still very high, but it's eroding, particularly in younger consumers, in favor of smartphones and tablets. So how have pay TV operators been doing so far in terms of making people aware of TV everywhere, which is the ability to watch TV shows and movies in an authenticated way on a tablet or smartphone? And we described it in a very straightforward way that your pay TV subscription gives you the right to watch certain TV shows and movies on your tablet or smartphone, and gave HBO Go as an example. And for the MVPDs whose subscribers responded here, all of this should have been 100%. In other words, all of the MVPDs for this set of respondents offered TV everywhere. But you can see it's at best 50% awareness in the under age 25 range, and then it tails off. You can also see that it's really not changed very much since last year when we asked the same question. Even though with that lack of awareness, we asked consumers, if you were using TV everywhere, which of these options would be better for you? And we asked about a separate app for each channel you subscribe to, each giving you access to TV shows from that specific channel, versus a single app from your cable TV provider that gives you access to all the shows from the channels you subscribe to. So nearly all the TV everywhere usage today is in the gray part here, HBO Go, Watch ESPN. Obviously, some MVPDs like Comcast have done a reasonable job of getting people to use their Xfinity service. But even with that lack of awareness and lack of usage of the single app from a cable TV provider, it's really the direction consumers would prefer for things to go. And we didn't make a big deal out of what the user experience would be like. Imagine having separate apps, or imagine if it all came together. But still, people intuitively get the idea that it would be much more preferable to have a single app from their cable TV provider. So anyway, TV everywhere, very important for cable TV operators. Still a lot of strength in live channels overall, and not a lot of cord cutting yet. So it's really, when it comes to watching TV shows and movies over the internet on these other devices, it's cable TV's game to lose right now.
It sure seems that way. It does seem, from all the data that you shared, Jonathan, that incumbents are still in a very strong position.
Yeah, they are, and there are, there are obviously some warning signs in terms of their brand positioning in younger age groups versus Netflix. We have some other data that where we've looked at that, but overall they're in a much better position than the fragmented over-the-top providers.
Well, Jonathan, this has been great. Lots of terrific information that you've presented here, and I know some of our viewers are going to want to get in contact with you directly. So, how would be the best way for them to go about doing that?
Best way is to email me, jhurd, Jhurd, at altville, altvil.com.
Terrific. Well, thank you again, Jonathan. This was our inaugural video interview, and you did very well. Really appreciate you taking time out of your busy day, and we'll talk to you again soon.
All right. Thanks very much, Will. Take care.